Hello everyone and welcome back to the Hall of Games podcast, a show for people who play video games and enjoy hearing others talk about them. In today's very special memory card episode, I speak to Remy Siu, who is the founder of Sunset Visitor, the studio behind 1000xResist. It's an absolute favourite game of mine and a game that has been mentioned multiple times on this podcast. It was an honour recording this episode with Remy, so I very much hope you all enjoy memory card number 4. Hello and welcome back to the Hall of Games podcast. I'm Sam Hall, and for this memory card episode, I am joined by a very special guest. He is a composer, a new media artist, and he is the founder of Sunset Visitor, the studio behind 1000xResist. It's the one and only Remy Siu.
Hello, thanks for having me.
That's okay, Remy. Did I miss anything in your intro? You've got lots of interest.
Oh no, that sounds like my life.
Awesome. I'll not linger too long on this, but I do want to say just how much I appreciate you coming on the show. Anyone who's listened to this podcast will know I'm a massive fan of 1000xResist, and it was actually my favourite game from last year. But more than that, this podcast kind of owes its existence to the game in a strange way. So, for some backstory, I'd been planning this podcast in my head for about a year. It was something I'd always wanted to do, but struggled to actually start it. And then back in December of last year, I started playing 1000xResist, and I was absolutely blown away by the end of the first chapter. I think I posted something on Blue Sky just saying, like, wow, 1000xResist really has this stuff. You and the Sunset Visitor account both liked that post, so thank you very much for that.
Oh yeah.
And then by the time I finished the game, I was so moved by the game's story that I immediately went looking for other people's opinions and breakdowns, and I found a spoilercast episode of the No Limits podcast by Save the Game Media. I enjoyed that episode so much that I messaged one of the hosts, Sam Heaney. He's also on Blue Sky. I messaged him and asked if he wanted to be a guest on the podcast, which didn't exist at this point. He said yes, and that sort of gave me the urgency I needed to prepare the show. So both the hosts of that spoilercast have now been guests on the podcast, and now we have the founder of Sunset Visitor as well as a guest. So all that to say, absolute honour to have you here, Remy. Thank you again.
Wow. Yeah, no, thank you for asking me. That's a wild story. I had no idea.
It's a pretty crazy story. But yeah, it's great. He's a big fan, Sam Heaney. I've got some questions from him later on. I'll ask you as well.
Nice.
But before we dive into the official memory card questions, what are you playing at the moment, Remy?
What am I playing at the moment? I'm playing a lot of Elden Ring Night Rain.
Nice.
So, yeah, I think that I'm kind of obsessed.
You're obsessed with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, which is like maybe not what people expect me to play.
No, yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that, actually.
But yeah, that's kind of what I'm.
Brilliant. Are you playing sort of solo, or are you playing with a squad? Or...
No, I'm playing with a couple of friends, and some like developers, and then other friends that I know, and our artist Irene Ko, who is carrying us a lot.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. That's great to hear. So, so for anyone new to the podcast, the idea of these memory card questions is to learn more about the guest through the games that they've played, and ultimately this will create a sort of database for people to go to if they want to learn more about a particular person in the industry. So, Remy, are you ready for your first question?
I am ready.
What was your first games console?
PlayStation 1. So, yeah, I think, I had asked for... Well, I didn't really know... Like, I don't know if PC counts. Does it count?
It can count if that was what you first played on, then sure.
Well, I mean, I guess you know, in terms of what I played games on for the very first time, it was definitely like a PC.
Mm, okay.
So point and click adventure games and stuff like this, like LucasArts games. But then, I had noticed like my cousin had like um, a what's it called, the Super Nintendo and a Game Boy and stuff like this, and I was like coveting that stuff, and I had no idea. I like really badly wanted one of those, um, but then for whatever reason, my parents got a PlayStation. I think at the time, I don't know what their rationale was. I didn't know what it was when when I got it. I was like, I was happy, I suppose. I remember being, but I was like, "What is this exactly? Like,
Okay.
this is not like this is not a Super Nintendo." Little did I know all the
Oh,
things that was going on. I don't know if
yeah.
my parents actually knew what was going on.
Mm.
I think they must have been like, "This thing does 3D, whereas a Super Nintendo does not."
Yeah.
And I think that that being my first game console, I think influenced a lot of things. Either like, sounds dramatic to say, but
No, no,
like
it
it
definitely
like
is.
it influenced a lot of my life, I think, and then also influenced a lot of like the eventual. I mean, the game 1000 times resist, and I think also like a lot of art, kind of being front row center for the weird, janky 3D, early 3D era.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So like, I would say that if people were to ask in this way, like I'm a PlayStation kid.
PlayStation kid.
Uh, yes.
I was also, so that's that's nice
Yeah.
to hear. So what was the first game you remember playing? Was it on the PlayStation or was it on the PC? Like say.
I remember playing the LucasArts games a lot.
Mm.
So like the thing, like I remember having to troubleshoot, because these were like, I think I had a PC when I was younger. It was on DOS,
Mm.
and um and then I remember having to troubleshoot the sound card a lot. Like basically, I'm like have this like phrase burned into my memory, which is like, yeah, sound blaster not found or something, you know,
That's
where it's
good.
like, and I remember just being like, what the hell is a sound blaster? And so that was challenging, and so I played a lot of those LucasArts
Mm.
um, adventure games, kind of like without sound for a while.
Wow.
And then when sound started to work, I was like, whoa. I was like, wow. Like affect.
Yeah.
And then I played like Star Trek 25th anniversary point and click adventure. And that was interesting. It was tough because I don't know what happened, but like we lost the star chart.
Mm.
I don't know, for people who know about that game, like there's like paper star chart that it ships with that like tells you where you have to go. To a degree, it's kind of like an anti-piracy thing,
Ah,
you
okay.
know. But we lost ours, and then I don't know how I finished that game. I just clicked everywhere.
Yeah. Brute
um,
forced it.
but that was a weird thing. I guess you were clicking random stars, and then you would discover something you wouldn't know what. That was a fun experience, I guess, as a kid.
Yeah.
Um, so I think those LucasArts adventure games are the ones that I remember most playing
Okay.
when I was young. But then on, PlayStation One, uh, I think like the first, uh, like really memorable PlayStation One games for me, because I think we got it like quite soon after it had shipped, and so like this was like pre Crash Bandicoot,
Mm.
as far as I know, and so like Battle Arena Toshiden, Toshinda. I can't remember the. I don't know. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. The first
Yeah.
one,
Okay.
and Jumping Flash.
Okay.
Um,
What games? What kind of games were they? I've not
so
actually heard of
Battle
them.
Arena, it was just a fighting game.
Just fighting game. I
Yeah, it
see.
was one of the early 3D fighting games. So you could like roll on the Z axis, and then Jumping Flash was a first person 3D platformer
Mm.
and pseudo quote unquote shooter. I mean, you were in this weird like robot, kind of like rabbit robot, um, and you would go and rescue these um, things, these like
Okay.
little creatures,
Yeah.
and it was very Japanese and also very weird, and like that was like, um, and it was, I think it was ahead of its time. Like I think for sure it was ahead of its time because like one, um, it had a kind of like Mario 64 setup
Mm.
before Mario 64, um, where it's like just the world you run around, you find
Right.
these things, and then you get out.
Mm.
Um, and it also kind of like referenced all these interesting things because like there are some levels that um, feel like dungeon crawlers or like Doom, even though so much of the game in certain aspects were like jumping and jumping and jumping and see how far you could get and like the high of seeing if you could make the jump.
Right.
Um, so yeah, those are yeah
Okay. Yeah. Excellent.
yeah
I mean, they sound cool. I've never heard of either of them, but I'll check them out.
yeah people. I'm ready for the jumping flash resurgence.
Yeah.
This is yeah.
I'm sure that will happen now. uh, this is a big question.
Hmm.
But what is your favorite game of all time?
Oh man, that's really hard. Uh, it's hard to say exactly what my favorite game of all time is, but I would
Mm.
say the most influential game for all time, and I think I've said this in like the original Final Fantasy VII. I think was one of the most influential
Mm.
games for me, largely because I played it when I was very young.
Mm.
I didn't like the games that I was just talking about, right?
Yeah.
Like Jumping Flash and then eventually something like Crash Bandicoot. Um, like this kind of era of like high 90s like 3D mascot platformers.
Yeah.
um, you know, Final Fantasy VII coming along, I just had no idea. I didn't know what Final Fantasy was. I had just rented it, um, and I did. I really had no idea what I was getting into when I started
Mm.
playing it, and like I had never thought. Like I didn't even know the length of the game. Like I didn't know what
Yeah.
type of game. I didn't know what JRPGs were. I I think I also um, couldn't imagine how long the game was. Like
Mm.
I think after the end of the first bombing mission, and then like subsequently the second bombing mission,
Mm-hmm.
like after the first slums section,
Yeah.
I was like, I think this game is ending. I think,
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah.
I so it really I think that one was the most influential because it was like, okay, this is the first game that I played
Mm.
that felt like it wanted to say things about things. It was like had this like fully developed world in a way that I was not used to.
Mm.
It had people in it that I cared about.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I would say that's probably the most influential
Okay.
game, and for a long time I guess I would consider it my favorite game. These days it's harder to say,
Yeah, it is so hard.
favorite games. Like I love Outer Wilds also. I'm always gonna chill Outer Wilds. So
I've still not
um,
played that yet. It's been a
oh, you have
topic. It's
to.
been a topic on this podcast.
Yeah,
It's sort of like next on my list to play, but I can't wait to play that. Yeah.
it does feel like to us, like at least for a subset of like indie developers, it
Mm.
feels like Outer Wilds just like hanging over our shoulders.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah. So Final Fantasy VII. Okay. Great answer. Popular answer. I only played it for the first time um, a couple of years ago, and yeah, I
Mm.
can see why playing that at like such a young age would be sort of mind blowing.
Yeah, it was definitely a new experience,
Yeah, something
and
completely
in
new.
all the ways at the time,
Mm.
like um,
Yeah. Okay. What game have you played the most? What game do you have the most hours in, if you know?
oh, that's a good one. Um, if I know.
Mm.
Uh, Probably Star Wars Galaxies.
Okay. Okay. Star
Do you know
Wars
Star Wars
Galaxies. I
Galaxies?
don't actually know.
So Star Wars Galaxies was a MMO
Mm.
um, that kind of has a lineage to Ultima Online,
Okay.
and it was like a completely like player-run, player-driven economy,
Yeah.
and like outside of like the more like established um, world. So I was
Mm.
like a huge MMO,
Really.
you know, person when I was younger.
Mm.
I also got into those when I was little bit too young, perhaps.
Yeah.
And this is pre World of Warcraft,
All
and
right.
so it's Star Wars Galaxies. I probably played way, I was definitely like addicted to Star Wars
Yeah.
Galaxies, and it was a weird kind of like addiction because because of the player run economy, because of
Mm.
the player like most of the world is empty, and then it's you fill it with player housing
Mm.
and player cities. Most of what I was up to was like emergent, interesting kind of gameplay, social gameplay
Yeah.
with like you would run like it's so interesting like you go and you don't have this anymore. I know that the person who made one of the leading designers for Star Wars Galaxies is making a new game right now, and
Oh,
I'm looking
really?
forward to it.
Wow.
But like this early kind of MMO where it's all player driven,
Mm.
um, you would go to a player made store stocked by players, weapons made by players,
Yeah.
um, and that kind of thing was just extremely appealing to me.
Yeah.
It really felt like a second life situation, just though in Star Wars. And
Yeah,
so,
of course.
um, I played that game a lot, even though it was so janky.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Uh,
Yeah. It's interesting.
that's like a weird answer, maybe.
No, I mean, there's no weird answers.
Yeah.
You can be as honest as you like. I know that's cool. MMOs are sort of like a gap in my
Hmm.
gaming knowledge. I don't think I've
Hmm.
really ever played an MMO. Maybe like DC Universe Online, is
Oh
it
yeah,
called? I
yeah,
played
right.
that for
Yeah,
like a really small amount. Um,
yeah.
but it's something I've always been sort of interested in, and yeah, Star Wars one makes so much sense in that like massive sort of universe and all the different type of characters you could be. What kind of character were you then in
I was a
Galaxies?
uh, so I was a uh, um, resource extraction.
Excellent, excellent.
Because there's no class. I mean, there were classes,
Yeah,
but like it's that game is like so like it's not like the classes that you may have in like
yeah,
say World of Warcraft, or even Final Fantasy 14.
mm.
It's like um, I like did resource extraction and I sold the raw materials to weapons manufacturers.
Amazing. Oh, you had your
It's
own little 9 to 5 in this. I love it.
Yeah, well, it really was a 9 to 5 sometimes. It really
Mm.
felt like you were, like doing a 9 to 5. Because you would, most of the game for me was like getting on my speeder
Mm.
and doing the rounds of collecting the resources from the harvesters that you
Yeah.
would build across um, the world.
Mm.
And then you would get the stuff and you would go someone would need the materials and you like there was no market. I don't remember there being a market. I remember having to like go to town and sell them, um, and then eventually I found a, a another player who needed these resources regularly, and so we had a struck a deal.
Oh, you had a trade deal.
We had a trade deal, so I would just supply that player with this material, and they would pay me,
That's amazing.
and I would spend money on my house
Mm.
on Naboo.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
So like that's kind of what the game was.
That's amazing. Oh, that's amazing. I really feel like I'm
I
missing
didn't
out.
fire a blaster once, like I feel like I didn't
Wow.
fire a blaster once.
That's good.
Um, yeah,
Getting around combat even from that early on. I love
yeah.
it. Um, did you do you have any idea how many hours you had in that? That is sort of the second
Oh,
part to that question.
probably thousands and thousands
Thousands
of
and thousands.
hours.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely thousands and thousands of hours. Yeah.
Brilliant. Um, what is a popular game you have not played yet but want to?
Ooh, um, I have not finished Claire Obscure.
Me neither,
Um,
unfortunately.
yeah, so like I started it, but then I got distracted, which is very classic. I there's probably lots of popular games. I'm just gonna go like scroll through my backlog here.
Yeah. I mean, Claire
Um,
Obscure is a good answer. That's
yeah, Claire Obscure.
it's blowing
Yeah,
up
that's
right
like
now.
I know, and I really need to get to it.
Yeah,
I
especially
just haven't.
like with your sort of love of Final Fantasy VII, I've heard so many.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, there are just so many similarities between those. At least like direct
Mm-hmm.
inspiration from it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm about halfway through Claire Obscure at the minute, and yeah, I really need to get
Nice.
on with that. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nice.
interesting. Um, and then, what is a popular game that you will never play?
Just bringing up my um probably like you know the whatever the most recent Call of Duty
Okay, yeah.
is, and I mean I'm trying to find a more interesting answer here. Um,
I mean, that's interesting.
well, like I haven't played any of the
Mm.
more recent like Assassin Creeds
Hmm.
or like any of these AAA games that
Mm.
I I just haven't been able to kind of dig in or get at them.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
maybe
that's
that's my
yeah, Call of Duty. I mean,
those are my answers. Yeah.
that's a great answer. I mean, it's one of the most popular games in the world, and I'm sort of similar with you. I every year for the past 5 or 6 years, I've maybe tried to get into Call of Duty with friends or whatever, and
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
always gotten bored within a few
Right.
weeks.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I don't know I don't know what it is about that, but yeah, it's
Well, I think I was ground level for the Modern Warfare 2
yeah,
Xbox Live,
yes,
era, right? So I don't know if I can ever recreate that
yeah,
time. And so I also think that like I played a lot of Counter Strike when I was younger,
mm,
um, and I was always still like um, yeah, like like the in the same way. Oh, I'd never played Fortnite. That's another like
okay,
because I was always really tilted by the fact that like it stole the limelight from
from PUBG.
PUBG. and then also similarly I've never played Dota 2 and or
Mm,
League of Legends,
okay,
um, because I was tilted way back. This grudge goes on. I've been
yeah,
holding this grudge forever. Because of the Warcraft 3 ladder.
hmm,
Like it killed Warcraft 3 ladder, and I never forget. I was like, MOBAs are not for me.
mm,
Um, so those are many of the popular games I guess I'll never
yeah.
play
No, those are
because of my
that's great.
long-standing grudge.
You're
Yeah,
loyal to a fault.
yeah, yeah.
So before we go back to the set questions, I'd love to now ask
Hmm.
you some questions about 1000xResist and some of your
Sure,
other
sure.
work, if that's all right.
Yeah.
So firstly, it's evident from your work and your website that you have a wide range of interests and skills. I was wondering if you can
Mhm.
remember the very first time that you felt like passionate about something as a kid. Like, was there a particular uh, film or piece of music or game that like lit a fire in you?
I definitely think that was Final Fantasy VII when I was young.
Mm,
I think that would kind of like confirmed to me or like really sparked an interest for me to want to make things.
Mm.
And it's hard to explain why. Um, and I think the challenge was at the time, you couldn't really go off and make a JRPG by yourself. Or like, eventually, RPG Maker was existed, but like I remember hearing about RPG Maker and how it
Yeah.
was like only on consoles at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like it wasn't like easy to get or out in the West as far as I remember. Um, and so uh, kind of going back and thinking about it, it's like how they made Corpse Party. Um, like that was like an RPG Maker game as far as I know, and they made that quite early. It was like a very early indie game. Um, and those tools didn't exist, so I think. But I was very passionate about Final Fantasy VII, and then I think that kind of led me to being interested in making art. I
Mm.
didn't think about it like that
Yeah.
then, and then um, I think early on because there was really no outlet. Um, I think I just picked up writing fiction
Mm.
and became very interested in that for a long time. And I think that was something that I was very passionate about when I was younger was fiction
Yeah.
and um, eventually kind of that turned into um, studying music when I was older, which is weird,
Mm.
because there was just no uh, not that many creative writing programs locally to me here, and I was just interested in practicing art. I guess at the time, this is all in retrospect, right? Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just like I was just interested in like making stuff. Like I wanted to
Yeah.
practice making stuff, and again, there was no situation where it seemed like I could go and do that from a creative writing perspective
Mm.
at post secondary education, and so I went to go study music. I think all of these like that like starting from Final Fantasy VII being this
Mm.
like very passionate thing. This thing I was very passionate about kind of lit a fire that somehow just kept like leading to a series of decisions where I was like, oh, I can't do the thing I want to do, so I guess I'm going to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't do the thing I want to do, so I guess I'm going to do this. And so I, kept doing that
Mm.
for some reason, and you kind of ended up here, I suppose.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Like working
Yeah,
within the constraints that you've got. That's interesting.
yeah.
Uh, I've got another couple of questions now from Sam Heaney, who I mentioned before.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
he is an actor as well
Mm.
as a co-host of this podcast, as well as a writer.
Nice,
But
nice.
with his acting background, he wanted to ask you
Hmm.
how, if at all, did working with physical space in theatre affect your approach to designing digital space in 1000xResist?
I think it definitely affected the physical spaces in the game.
Mm.
I would say that in it's weird because I think it's like a subconscious thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't like a very super active thing.
Mm.
Um, you know, especially when it came to something like chapter 4 in the game, where like in the cave, um,
Mm. Oh yeah,
essentially creating a proscenium for all of those weird things to,
yeah,
um, be um, while you were kind of moving around and changing timelines. Like that would anytime like something like that would happen, I would be like, oh, very quickly lock in and understand like, all right, okay,
yeah.
see what's going on here.
Mm.
Um, and I also think that when it comes to lighting, it definitely
Mm.
affected lighting a lot, and
Yeah,
kind of not being shy about lighting, I suppose.
I heard
Yeah,
you had to redo all the lighting when you decided to make a switch
yeah,
port.
yeah,
So that must have been fun.
yeah. That was intense. I had to
Mm.
like redo it all. I think I like within a span of like a week and a half or like 2 weeks or something like this. It was
It's mad.
yeah, it was intense.
Yeah, yeah. I think you said I can't remember what it was now. It might have been the Full Indie Summit or something last year where you
Mm,
mentioned that.
hmm.
But yeah, did that end up? Yeah, did that end up sort of giving you any benefits from the baked lighting rather than having it, dynamic or?
Well, it was dynamic in
Mm,
the end, and that was one of the reasons why we had to do it all again.
right.
Was because we had to do a lot of things to get the Switch optimized,
Mm,
um, and and one of the major things we had to do was change the okay, how does it start? It starts with like um, this weird. Uh, so okay, on the Switch you can't really support that many lights, right? Like you can only
mm-hmm.
support like um, especially in the Unity built-in pipeline that we were using, right? We're using a little bit of an older
Mm,
Unity, and the way that they render point lights is that they just render everything again, and that's kind of expensive.
oh.
And so there, but for example, this was also an interesting thing where we started to realize, and this may pertain to some of the previous question,
Mm,
is that most of our spaces in the game are indoors,
oh
and
yeah.
like conceptually they're indoors and not very much outdoors space.
And even the outdoorsy looking space is
Yeah,
actually indoors as well.
is actually indoors,
That's good.
and so we were in a situation where like we had lots of detail in the environment and on the characters,
Mm,
um, with normals, and that was largely to reduce the kind of like mesh complexity, right? Like that's
mm-hmm.
why you would use normals so that like when light bounces off of them,
Yeah,
that extra detail is revealed.
of course.
But because of all of the indoorness of the game, we were suffering from this. Sorry, excuse me.
It's okay.
Situation where we wanted to cast shadows a lot, right? And also dynamically, like also like artistically, we wanted to cast shadows a
Mm,
lot. Shadows are like
of course.
um, a thing that is very useful to delineate space,
Mm-hmm.
um, especially in stage, and then also in the game. And like what I was mentioning, like the chapter 4 chamber
Mm,
with the proscenium with all of that stuff, that's all indoors also. And
yeah.
so what we were using is like what we were losing is like a lot of detail on both the characters and then also on other things.
Mm,
And so we had to um, go and modify the the shader that we were using for both environment and characters, um, where we made a break from physically based rendering and did this thing called like what we call dubbed dark normals, uh, where basically the normals are activated even though they're not lit.
okay.
And so there's always a level of detail. And so
That's
once
good.
we applied that to um, every like character and every environment,
Mm,
it allowed us to relight so many things. We had to relight so many things. We could remove so many lights because we
right.
realized we didn't
You
need
didn't need
certain
them.
lights anymore. And um, so so that was a part of the solve, I suppose. For so that's interesting because it's like a whole roundabout way of
Yeah.
like, because of the way that we like to light the game or the way that we were thinking about space,
Mm,
it led to these difficulties, and then us having to break with rent like a physically based rendering convention, and then have to, I don't know, um, rethink about how all the lights
mm,
worked on a very technical level to make it feasible on the Switch. And then in the end, I think that the game looks way better after the second
yeah.
lighting, not the second, like I don't know, with this lighting pass at least.
Yeah.
And
It looks incredible. Yeah.
I mean, one of the things is that the orchard, for example, is also
Hmm.
lit just with one light. So there's
Oh,
only
just the
one
one at the
single.
top.
There's only one. Yeah, there's only one directional
Yeah.
light lighting everything in the orchard. There's very little. There's almost like
Wow.
no point lights. There's no.
That's good.
it's so like that's kind of where we ended up.
Mm.
Yeah. Um, so I guess there's like technical consequences and ramifications for the way in which we'd like to render some of these things, or like light some of these things, or create space for some of these things,
Yeah.
because um, we lose a we lose kind of like the game is not like set outdoors with the day night cycle, for
Mm.
example, right? And all of the technologies that are kind of supplied and created for helping handle those situations, and assumptions conceptually that are made about that we
Yeah.
just kept running into and breaking. So it's like,
That's interesting.
yeah, yeah,
That's really cool.
that's kind of like a long-winded answer
No,
to
that was
to that
awesome. That
question.
was awesome. Thank you. And I know Sam will love hearing that as well.
Yeah.
He also wanted to ask, with how multi-layered and nuanced the game's story is, covering numerous themes in an often intentionally open-ended way, is there any one specific thing that you really hoped players would walk away thinking or talking about?
um I don't know if there was any specific theme, but I think one thing that I really wanted players to walk away talking about was maybe the formal organization
Mm.
of the game itself, or like the because I think that's some of the places where we took some of our bigger risks. Um, the way that the game is like, to a certain extent, I just wanted the player to feel like the game was like, oh my god, it's still going on. Like I can't believe it's still going
Yeah, yeah,
on.
yeah.
Like and at the same time being like, oh, because there's more, these consequences have to play out in a certain way, and it's like, oh,
Okay.
um, I think that has always kind of interested me, in the sense that you get to a place in the form of any time-based media where you really can start to stretch, I think, and start to play with player expectation, and to a certain extent sometimes invite boredom so that you can create rupture later.
Mm.
And so that I think that's some of where we took some of the biggest risks, is like, the kind of sequential or time-based formal organization of the whole thing.
Yeah.
um, and I was just hoping players would feel that somehow, and I think they have. So
Oh,
I
definitely.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm
Even just you
I'm
talking about it, yeah, definitely. That
um
that moment.
mhm,
I'm not gonna spoil the game
mm,
at all, but that moment. I'm trying to remember where the chapter
mhm,
is. The one of the towards the later chapters.
mhm.
That sort of big. There's a big time jump, and
Yeah, yeah.
that I remember being like, oh, and then
Mhm.
yeah, like I was never bored, but there's definitely like, okay, well, what are we doing now? And then
Yeah.
yeah, it really plays with you, and then you as you sort of explore more and more, you're like, oh, this is actually all really really relevant to everything
Mm,
that we've
mm,
just
mm,
had,
mm.
and like, yeah, absolutely incredible. It's so hard to talk about this game without spoiling, but yeah, brilliant. Uh, uh, Oh, Sam also said if you ever need a voice actor for a next game, he'll do it for free.
Oh,
So there you go.
nice.
Yeah,
We'll pay people,
yeah,
but that's good to know.
good to know.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so I'm curious, what did release day feel like for you? With it being sort of a game rather than a live
Hmm.
performance like you generally used to, did it feel somewhat like strange or even like anticlimactic once you pushed the button to release? Do you remember just sort of
Yeah.
sat there being like, like what? How are people feeling? And do you remember reading the first review for the game as well? How was that?
Yeah. No, I remember. Well, we got up early.
Mm.
I remember the night before I was having like weird dreams
Really?
about it, right? Because you can only imagine that, like you got to wake up early to go launch this game,
Oof.
and it was kind of like very down to the wire
Mm.
leading up to the launch. It was kind of intense, and um, internally the game, or like you're always, as someone making the game, there's a very like thin line of like when it's done and when it's not done.
Yeah.
And because we've been working on it so much, um, especially in the months leading up to release, it was like it always felt like it was not done, but we were getting very close to it, and then we just released it. And I remember getting up and like having weird dreams about how the release would go. Um, and
Like bad
um,
bad dreams or
well,
like
I think all bad.
oh yeah.
Well, I mean, they were all bad. I think I had like a couple of them.
Mm.
Where it's uh, and then we at the actual version of this was that we were all at home when it came out,
Yeah.
because it was quite early in the morning that we released. I think it was like maybe 9 a.m. or something, and we like I didn't even want to press the button, so our producer
Oh wow.
Louis from Fellow Traveler pressed the button, I believe.
Wow.
They asked us if do you
Yeah.
want to press the button,
Yeah.
and I was like, no.
Oh really? Oh
I
man.
was like, can somebody
Someone do it.
can can somebody who's like done it a couple times, can they do it? um and so um then it was just out, and that
Mm.
was weird. That was like truly, there's like a period of time, like, I don't, for people who are listening, like when you release a game on Steam, that it's just like in a weird limbo state.
Mm.
Like, you're hoping to get onto the new and trending
Yeah.
list. Um, maybe you're from popular upcoming, and then you kind of drop from both, and then it's just like,
Oh.
like
They've
and
lost us.
then, well, it's somewhere in between. And then because like as it goes, it may go immediately into new and trending, and then it may find its way into new and trending,
Mm.
which we did.
Hmm.
But there was a lot of worries like at the time, because like you want to get to your first 10 reviews on Steam the first day,
Right.
and it's tough because the game is quite long, right? Like I
Yeah.
didn't know like who's gonna play the whole game in one sitting in the first day of the game.
Yeah.
Like but I think um it was extremely anticlimactic, and like we
Yeah.
didn't there was no uh place in which to go
Yeah.
physically, I suppose, at the
Yeah.
time. And this was kind of out there, and you were just obsessively like refreshing
Yeah.
the store page. I'm sure many develop like if this experience is similar in so
Mm.
many ways. I know some people who are able to just like press the button and leave, and I'm like, oh my god, I could not do that.
No, I don't think I could
Um,
either.
yeah.
Okay, that's
So,
super interesting.
mm.
Um, so yeah, I guess how long did it take until you were, I guess as a whole, or the Sunset Visitor, you were all sort of like happy and like you were was there a day that it sort of blew up more than you would ever have thought, or was
Oh well, you had right. The other part of that question was like we did read the first review,
mm,
and the first review that we read was actually the Pace Magazine review by Natalie Flores, and um uh and like I remember just reading that, and that was very meaningful
mm,
to me, and I was like, oh my god, like that like people like the game,
yeah, at least one person's
um
like this game.
at least one person likes this game. And
That's
then
good.
um uh I think it was really kind of a slow burn, especially because May 9th was kind of a wild time to launch a game. uh, but I think the subsequent days after was really interesting, because like I think that kind of launching all those indie games simultaneously on that
Yeah.
day, like Animal Well, for example, was launched on May 9th.
Oh, I
And
didn't even
so
realize it was
so
the same day.
was
No
it was like
way.
Animal Well, Little Kitty Big City,
Ah,
Us,
yes.
Crypt Master, Um,
Oh wow, yeah,
some other, oh god, there's lots of other games that launched on May 9th, you know.
that's wild.
Um, Crow Country.
Mm,
Um, and so like all of this stuff was really intense. Um, but like, you know, it was like a thing I think the media talked about,
mm,
and that was nice to be included in that group of games. And so like I think we were very lucky that way as well.
mm,
Um, and I think in terms of um, but in terms of for what it felt like for us, I think it was actually a very slow burn in term like we didn't. I think once we start to see fan art appearing, and then
oh yeah,
that was like, oh,
I agree.
this is like, you know, kind of wild,
Yeah.
and it was kind of a go from there.
Mm,
Um, I always say like the first time it really felt like something was happening was when people were upset that we were not included in the Game Awards, and so
absolutely.
that like started at something that I was like, what's going on? Like,
Yeah.
why is, you know,
Oh,
um,
I was, I
yeah,
was, I was furious, and not
it's okay.
furious,
It's
but like,
yeah, it's
you know, um, we'd have loved you to be there. I I want to say actually, I was meant to mention this earlier. Someone who really sort of spread the word about 1000xResist was Barrett Courtney from Kind of Funny. I don't know if you're aware of Kind of
yeah,
Funny.
yes, Barrett. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, totally. Which we're
that's
so
how.
grateful about.
Yeah,
That was wild.
I
I was
bet
like, oh my God. Yeah.
he fought for you, and yeah, that's how
Uh-huh.
I heard of the game, and that's how I think Sam heard of the game as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so yeah, big shout out to Barrett.
Yeah, totally. Please, like, there were so many people in the media that I think started to champion
Hmm.
the game, and I think, you know, we're really grateful to everybody because like without that kind of thing, I don't think, you know, I don't think it would have been played as much
Mm.
as it has in this regard. Like like Michael Higgum is another
Mm.
person who wrote about it on IGN.
Yeah.
Um, everybody. I don't want to miss
No, yeah,
anybody.
of course, of course.
So, um, yeah, like this slow kind of accumulating burn of all of this stuff. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
great. So I would assume that you there was a time after release that you played the game all the way through in its entirety. Um,
Oh no, I haven't.
you haven't since
Oh,
its
after
release.
release, I haven't played it again.
Really?
After release,
I
no,
mean,
I
I guess.
haven't.
So, what were you just sick of it by that point?
I played it like, you know, I played it a lot. I played it a
Okay.
lot.
Yeah. I guess.
Um,
Yeah.
but I haven't yet sat down to play it all. Okay, that's not
Interesting.
true. Like I have like sped run it for
Okay.
testing
Test.
stuff,
Yeah.
but I
Oh,
haven't
nice.
like actually sat down to like play the game.
That's
And I don't know if
fascinating.
I ever will able be able to.
Mm.
Like maybe I have to like have some kind of like, you know, multi-year forgetting,
Yeah.
um, and then eventually be able to play. Maybe like 10 years from now, I
Interesting.
can I can play the game and be like, oh yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
That's great. I mean, that's good to know. Um,
Mhm.
in that case, then, is there anything you took away from the experience of creating the game, like any sort of learning from
Mm.
that that you weren't particularly expecting to have?
Um, like kind of really digging down into graphics debuggers
Okay.
and and like kind of understanding more the the rendering pipeline, so to speak.
Hmm.
Um, why things are expensive and why things are not, when it comes to the GPU, and
Hmm.
like and how those can be different for each GPU.
Yeah. Oh
That
my
was
god.
not something on my bingo list. I mean, that's not to say that like, you know, when in new media arts, you know, we would make a lot of kind of procedural artwork, or
Mm.
you know, we would say generative art these
Yeah.
days, but these days like generative has like a bad connotation,
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
or algorithmic generative art. with shaders, and but when it came to trying to get the thing on the Switch, we learned a lot. We learned
Mm.
a lot from a technical place.
Yeah.
Both myself and the programmer, our programmer Colin, um, learned quite a lot.
Mm.
So that was definitely something we didn't anticipate learning.
Yeah.
I think also kind of writing and the angle in which to understand a scene or what could carry a section changed over time. Like because one may think about it in more like filmic or TV terms, and how a scene can exist and how it could carry and sustain, but like that changes quite a lot um, because of the game,
Mm.
because it's a game and all of this other stuff. So it really is. There's so much that we learned.
Yeah. There's too much to say.
We learned everything.
Yeah.
We learned it all,
Everything.
all
Well,
on the fly.
yeah, that's
Um,
great.
it yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
So
Um,
trial by fire.
Trial
Yeah,
by fire. Yeah.
yeah.
I guess. I mean, this spoilers for
Mm,
the audience. Um, with the ending or the different endings.
hmm.
I was going to ask you which ending did you get when you played the game, but obviously you've not played since release. I guess what ending would you have gone for, or would you have wanted for that world and for those
Oh,
characters? That's a tough question, I
that
know,
one
but
that one I can't say.
you can't say.
It's a good
Okay,
question
that's fine.
though. I
That's fine.
shouldn't say.
That is fine. You do not have to answer.
I gotta leave that one on the
Yeah,
table.
that's fair
Yeah,
enough. That's fair enough. It's sort of not the point either. It's
yeah.
yeah, it's great. Um, okay, of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about the
Uh,
music.
mm,
I believe it was Drew Redman and is it
Lynn.
Lynn Catcher?
Yeah, Lynn
Uh,
Cacho. Yeah.
yeah, who did the music for 1000xResist.
Mhm.
You presumably worked very closely with both of them in its creation, but I wonder if you could speak about how important the music was to you and how did your ideas of the characters change once you heard the music for the first time?
Yeah. I think well, music is just hugely important. Um, I think to us also
Mm,
as a studio, and then also me personally. Um, one of the reasons why I wanted to go study music
mm.
when I went to school was because I was like, I loved video game music, right?
Yeah,
And um, and also specifically, I loved things like the JRPG tradition of video game music, as many people do, right?
yeah.
Like a town has a thing, like
Mm,
has a thing, or that you hear a piece of music and you're immediately like, oh yeah, that's like Besaid Island, or that is I don't know, a place that you
yeah,
remember very, very distinctly. Um, so I think that was really important to me going into this game, knowing that there was just going to be like probably quite a lot of music,
hmm,
because I wanted everything to have something.
yeah,
Um, and it became an extra challenge because, like with the timelines, every timeline kind of almost has its own piece of music.
yeah.
So that's why we ended up with like a 4.5 hour um, uh,
Incredible.
soundtrack, and so like it um, was extremely important. And I think um, we spent a lot of time kind of thinking about like when we first heard the orchard theme, that like told us quite a lot.
Hmm.
And we also, when we first heard the Watcher theme, that told us quite a lot. We first heard some of this like the wild sounds that Lynn was cooking up for like occupants and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That told us a lot. Um, I think we also had this music coming in as the development was going, and
yeah,
um, we started writing to it. We started recording voiceover to it, feeding music into the actors like headphones as they were performing and stuff
that's
like
good.
this. And so it really is like truly a big part of of it was maybe perhaps the most relaxing part of development for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go take a break in the music department.
Yeah. They just brings, we, of course we would talk and have notes, but it was like very,
Yeah.
yeah, it was very, yeah.
Music's also very important to me as well.
Mm.
Do you have a favorite, or at least a go-to track from the game that you maybe listen to a lot, or just that you love off the top of your head?
Yeah, I would say that I'm really, uh, there's the tear gas track
Oh yeah.
from Lynn's side,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's uh, a teardrop
Yeah.
from Drew,
Mm-hmm.
and of course also the orchard
Yeah.
theme in general. But I think like the end credits music and the one just before the end cutscene
Mm.
music, because that one's so recent to me. That's the most recent
Oh
one.
really?
I haven't lived with it as long as the rest of them.
Mm.
Um, I think those are also very special to me. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, great answers. Mine are Jiao, or
Uh-huh.
the youngest Lux.
Oh
Um,
yeah, nice.
they're I absolutely love them. What game had the biggest impact on you, perhaps due to the circumstances around you as you played it?
Probably like um near uh Automata um
Excellent.
was one that like really influenced me or had a huge impact on me, because I think I had not it had been like a couple of years since I played a game that, or actually quite a long time, like I think between um because I took a break from gaming a little bit between like 2010 and 2015 or
Mm.
whatever. Largely because I think I had a Mac only workflow
Okay.
for the various things I was doing, and um, I did have a PS4, so then I would play like, I don't know, whatever PS4 games that was coming out.
Mm.
But it wasn't until near that I was like, whoa, that I like am in sync. I like, I'm
Yeah.
really in sync with what this game wants to be
Yeah.
about,
Yeah.
or what this game is interested in.
Mm.
Um, and I think that kind of um, definitely impacted me a lot, um, and maybe accelerated my interest in trying to get into video games again.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great answer. My previous guest, one of the other hosts of the
Mm-hmm.
No Limits podcast, they also said Nier is one of their favorite games as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But yeah. Next up, what is your hot take game? So this is the game which you disagree the most with its critical reception. So
Uh-oh.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, this is funny. You don't have to be negative about this one because it could be,
No,
but
no.
everyone seems to choose to be negative in this question. So.
I'm trying to think about um
Oops.
I feel like I'm like looking through my backlog
Yeah.
again. Um, I don't really. And I'm not trying to just be polite. I'm
No.
just trying to think about, because generally, like if a game doesn't interest me as much, I just end up like not playing it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so then I don't know what to. I don't have like a
Mm-hmm.
experience with it.
Yeah.
Um,
That's okay. We can put NA for this one. Not.
yeah, no, let me think on it while we go
Yeah.
forward.
We'll come back to it then. You have a think.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess. Yeah. Next, next question then, I guess.
Hmm.
What upcoming game are you most looking forward to playing aside from the Star Wars Galaxies developers' new game?
Oh yeah. I am really looking for. Oh man, this is wild because like you know, looking at the looking at my backlog, it's just like wow, all these games have come out.
yeah,
All these
yeah,
games have come out.
they have.
What happened? Um, I'm really looking forward to playing the what do they call it? Duskblood or like
Oh yeah,
the
Duskbloods.
from for Switch 2. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna be really curious about that.
Yeah,
Um, and I feel like it's sad I don't have another.
I mean, that's a
I
good
don't have
answer.
another. I am really curious how they're gonna deal with the third part of the Final Fantasy VII remake as well.
Interesting. Yeah.
Um, like I know that's uh, something on the radar.
Mm.
Um, I haven't played Hades 2
Mm.
because I want to wait until it's done.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm like that with early access stuff.
yeah. So
Yeah. I mean, Duskbloods is a good answer. So, have you got a Switch 2 now then?
I do, yeah.
Are
But I
you playing
haven't really.
Donkey Kong yet?
I haven't played Donkey Kong yet. I need to get it,
You do.
but it's. I heard it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's pretty
yeah.
great. But yeah, Dustbloods does look really fun. I'm really looking forward to that.
Hmm.
We'll see, I guess, what that shapes out to
Well,
be.
FromSoft is like getting into multiplayer, which is like a
Yeah,
wild thing to me. You
it's
know.
bizarre, isn't it? Maybe they'll do an MMO next. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, give me the actual Dark Souls MMO.
Yeah, there you go.
So.
Oh, that's so good. Um, okay, next one. Next one.
Mm.
What is your memory card game? If you could wipe a game from your memory and experience playing it for the first time again, what game would you choose? Other than
Outer Wilds.
oh,
Oh,
okay. I was going to say
yeah,
other
yeah,
than
yeah,
1000xResist, which I'm
yeah,
sure you'd love to wipe from your memory and just
yeah.
Outer Wilds.
Um,
Go on.
Outer Wilds and Outer Wilds DLC. I would
Mm.
totally love to be able to discover that again. I think I played the Outer Wilds DLC very early on in development of 1000 times resist
Mm.
and was very gave me a nice boost. I was like, damn, like games are good.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice when that happens. um, okay, and I guess finally of the main questions, what is one game you think everyone should play? The game you answer with will be placed into the Hall of Games for future generations, as well as future content for this
Mm,
podcast. Let me tell you what's already in the Hall of Games, so we don't have any
mm.
repeating answers. Currently in the Hall of Games, we have Age of Empires 1, 1000xResist, and Near Automata, or Automata, depending on how you
Mm.
pronounce it. So yeah, what is one game you think everyone should play?
Okay, I'm gonna put one in here that I think nobody else will put on
Oh,
in
okay.
here.
I love that.
Um, I think people should play Perfect Tides.
Perfect Tides.
uh, I'm just gonna do my Perfect Tides shilling again.
Perfect Tides.
And
I've not heard of this game.
it's a game. Uh, there's a sequel coming out,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a point and click adventure game, and it's it's just about a girl growing up in the 2000s,
Yeah.
and like I think that um, it encapsulates many things I don't want to like spoil
Yeah.
or but it's like an interesting approach to video game making and the way that it's written and the way that
Mm.
it actually speaks to its themes and topics. It's kind of something like not was not possible um, pre indie games, right? I
Yeah.
like Perfect Eyes. I think is largely made by very few people and largely made by one person,
Mm-hmm.
Meredith Gran, and it's just that um, there really is. This is kind of like the dream of indie games, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So Perfect Tides.
That's a great answer. The art style looks
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
I really like how it looks. It's got some sort of like almost like 2.5 dimensional stuff going on there.
Yeah, yeah. It's very
Very cool.
it's also very expressive and yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
definitely look into that. So great
Yeah.
answer. Um,
Yeah.
so that is the end of the major questions.
Mm,
There's a couple of like other things I want to ask generally.
mm-hmm. Sure.
First off, are we ever getting a console port for 1000xResist?
I can't
You can't answer. That's
say
fine.
at
That's
this
fine.
time. I can't say at this
I
time. Yeah.
expected.
Yeah.
We'd
Yeah.
love a PlayStation port of 1000x if it's
Yeah.
still up. So.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
okay,
it's yeah.
that's fine. I guess also like in vague terms, I assume you can't talk too much. What does the future look like for Sunset Visitor? Are you obviously answer
Mhm,
this how you will? Are
mhm.
you looking at what type of thing are you looking to make next and so on?
Yeah, I can't say
Mm-hmm.
um exactly, but we are working on things. I
Excellent.
can say that I just, this week, can I say this? This week,
I can cut it out
you
later if
know,
you decide.
yeah, like I spent 3 days on set
Mhm.
shooting some footage. So,
Awesome. That's really
yeah.
exciting. That's really exciting. Thank you.
Um, that's yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, if you want me to cut that later, just let me know.
No, no, I think that should be fine.
That's fine.
I
It could be
think that should
anything.
be
That could be
fine.
anything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Well, that's all the questions that I've got for you, Remy.
Hmm.
We've made good time actually. So thank you so
Yeah.
much for coming on. You've been wonderful, and I think the audience are really going to enjoy those answers.
Yeah, and thank you so much for having me on and
That's
for your
absolutely
questions.
fine. Just before we go, do you want to go ahead and tell the people where they can find you, or if you have any upcoming other projects you want to let people know about?
Yeah, so you can find me on Blue Sky at remysiu.com is my handle, and you can also find Sunset Visitor on Blue Sky at sunsetvisitorstudio.studio as is our handle. Um, we're also on all the various social medias, I think, most of them. And if you would like to join our Sunset Visitor Discord, where there's lots of really amazing fan art being made and discussions, and we're also there answering questions on occasion, you can do that as well. It'd be great to have you. And I think those are the places in where you can kind of keep up to date on what we're doing. We released a bunch of merch this year and a bunch
You
of
did.
vinyls,
Oh, I've
or
ordered
a
that by the way.
vinyl.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
yeah.
I'm like, I want them. A
They're
vinyl. They look amazing, and I can say that because I didn't do any of the artwork for it.
so
Um,
good.
and so but keep an eye out for other things coming down the line in that regard as well.
Excellent.
But you can be updated if you follow any of those accounts or join our Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go, everyone. Yeah, I've got the vinyl on. I can't remember when it's coming. I think it might be next year, or maybe it's like later this year.
I think it's this
Oh,
year. I think
fantastic.
it's this year. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah, I because you can get two color variants, can't
Mm-hmm.
you? I
Mm-hmm.
I got the one with Principal, that one, the red. I think
Nice.
it's red, blue,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
green. I can't wait. But I wanted them
yeah.
both because they're both awesome.
Yeah, I
But
think
yeah.
they'll both be around. It's one of those things where I'm like, when I get them, Kat did such a good job designing the whole
Mm-hmm.
thing. I'm like, I'm not even gonna listen to him to put it on
Just
the
gonna put
wall
it.
or
Yeah,
something.
I'm
Yeah,
genuinely
yeah.
thinking about framing it. It's a shame I've got this like slanted wall. Otherwise, I'd put it up there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
sorry. I'll end
No.
the podcast now. There you have it, everyone. Go check out Remy's work, including the spectacular 1000xResist from Sunset Visitor. There's a reason it keeps being brought up in this podcast, and that's because it's amazing. I'm also going to include a link in the episode description to Remy's speech he gave when accepting the Peabody Award earlier this year. Thank you, Remy. That was a really great speech.
Oh, thanks.
I wish you all a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time on the Hall of Games podcast. Hecky Grace.
Thank you, Grace.
So that was episode 5 of the Hall of Games podcast. Thank you all for listening, and thank you to Remy for a truly amazing memory card interview. If you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and leave a comment telling me the game that means the most to you and why, and maybe I'll read it in a future episode. You can help support the podcast by going to patreon.com/samhallofgames, and for $2.99 a month you can sign up to the Director's Cut tier, which gets you early extended versions of every memory card episode. That means more answers from Remy as well as previous guests. You can find me almost anywhere at Sam Hall of Games. Thank you to Bluefields for the music. Go play some games, and I'll see you next time on the Hall of Games podcast.